Everybody, we got a question today. It's one of the most common questions that I'm asked, and that is, does butt wink matter during the squat? So if you don't know what butt wink is, it's when our lumbar spine actually kind of comes in, it flexes at the bottom of the movement, and it looks like your butt is kind of like coming up underneath your body as you squat down. Now, to actually go over if butt wink is something that is, quote, dangerous, or if it's something that maybe we should just proceed with caution with, we have to ask a lot of questions about the context. Here's the thing. Lumbar flexion, that butt wink, is not necessarily going to cause issues for you. But that movement does put more stress on the backside of a disc, especially under heavy load. Now that doesn't mean that just because you have butt wink and that it does put stress, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a herniated disc or a quote bulging disc happen because you're doing that. So there's two really big questions that we also need to address here. The first being, why is that happening in the first place? Actually, your lumbar spine is not the first place that your body wants to get flexion from when we need it. So when we go deep down into the squat, in that bottom of the hole, we're going to be doing triple flexion in the lower body. So that means your ankle is going to be dorsiflexing, your knee is going to be flexing, and your hips are going to be flexing. So that gives us that bottom of the hole. Now, if you're somebody who struggles with movement at one of those joints that we just said, one of those three, then your body can try to get deeper flexion by compensating through a different part of the body. One of those areas that it can get more flexion from is the lumbar spine. Hopefully you can see where I'm getting at here. Just because you have butt winks doesn't necessarily mean it's a lumbar issue. That sometimes is just the symptom that something else is not moving the way that it really needs to in order for you to hit that depth. So if you have butt wink, this is you, and you've been wondering why it's happening, I want you to pause, ask yourself this question. Have I had an injury at any three of those joints? So for the ankles, a lot of times it's a history of ankle sprains or fracture, which then limits the range of motion there, which doesn't allow the ankle to want to dorsiflex, to bend. The second one, at the knee, maybe you had a knee injury before, like a meniscus injury or an ACL injury, and your quad strength isn't all that great. So your leg doesn't want to load into that range of motion. Again, if that's the case, you're not going to get as much knee flexion, so you're not going to get that second part of the triple flexion. So that leaves us with our last one, the hip. So if you have a hip impingement, some type of hip mobility issue, labrum tear that doesn't allow you to really get into that deep hip flexion, maybe lumbar flexion is your body's way of trying to get that motion. So you see that like butt wink itself is not necessarily a bad thing because it's the body's way of trying to help us get that full depth of range of motion during the squat. It's just where is the movement impairment that's causing us to have that butt wink in the first place? Which actually leads right into the second question. That's a perfect transition. The second question is, do you even need that much depth, that much range of motion during your movement? So if you're a power lifter, CrossFit, you need to hit depth and you got to get deep. Then it becomes something that, well, we need to probably train through this, and we can't shorten our depth because otherwise you're going to be missing lifts, right? So the context of what you do is really important. If you're somebody who's just liking to go in the gym, stay healthy, stay fit, and you really struggle with butt wink and you try hard to address any issues that might be causing it, but it's still there, maybe we shorten up our range of motion on the squats, on deadlifts, lifting off of blocks instead of pulling from the floor. Maybe we squat to pins, or we just have a box squat, set the box above where we flex our lumbar, or really just do partial range squats throughout that range of motion. So just to sum it up, butt wink, not by itself a problem, does put more stress on the discs, but we understand that, and then we make our decision about moving forward. We look at other areas in the body. Are we moving well through our ankles, our knees, our hips? And then we ask the question, does our sport require us to hit full depth? This is the big picture that when you put all those variables together, will tell you, yes, butt wink is a problem, or no, it's not. I hope this video helped. If it did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.